Good evening. Today is September 15th, 2020, and this is the start of the Hanson Board of Selectmen meeting. In accordance with Governor Baker's order related to COVID-19 pandemic, this evening's meeting is being held remotely with reasonable access being afforded via live streaming courtesy of Whitman Hanson Cable Access Television. Please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sorry, it looks like we have a little back feed. Okay, so we're going to start off with our regular meeting, and then we'll go into executive session afterwards. Ms. Kemet, would you mind doing the announcements? They're pretty quick.
I would not mind doing them. Unfortunately, I'm having difficulty with my
Oh, I got it.
yeah, with my iPad, and I apologize.
No problem. A reminder, the Town of Hanson dog licenses are due by September 30. A late fee of $25 will be added to each dog license starting October 1st. Announcements. Volunteers are needed on the following committees: Facebook Upkeep Committee, 200th Anniversary, Conservation Commission, Associate Member, Cultural Council, Disabilities, Economic Development, Finance, Highway Building Committee, Historical Commission, Memorial Day Patriotic Observance, Memorial Field Trustee, North River Commission, and Zoning Board Alternate. Applications for appointment and information on the committee are available on the town website, www.hanson/mass.gov. Upcoming meetings: Tuesday, September 22nd, Selectmen meeting; Tuesday, September 29th, Selectmen meeting; Saturday, October 3rd, special town meeting. Location: the Whitman Hanson High School football field. The start is 10 a.m., rain or shine.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have Kate with us?
Not yet, Mr. Chairman. We're trying to get in touch with her right now, but so far, no luck.
So far, no luck. Okay, because we're going to need Kate for the discussion on a reduction of the quorum. Let's see if there's something else that we can skip to here. All right, so why don't we hop down to the discussion and vote to change the date of the special town meeting pursuant to an act to address challenges faced by municipalities and state authorities resulting from COVID-19, Chapter 53 of the Acts of 2020. And somebody let me know if they see Kate pop on there. So our last meeting, we discussed town meeting and changing it. There was discussion about the date. There was discussion also about where we should have it, the time. We kind of left it that we would have it on October 3rd, which is Saturday at 10 a.m. We had to, double check a couple of things. The main thing was with the school. So we've done that. The school gave us the okay to go ahead and have it. I did want to get, one of the things I said in the last meeting, I did want to talk to see what Beth thought about it, if she wants to come over. My thinking behind it, and anybody can jump in anytime, is, I think that if we put this off, I think coming the spring, we're just going to have so much work to do in the spring. And I really, really hate this COVID kind of just dictating what we're doing. And I truly believe that in the spring, we're still going to have to social distance.
Mm-hmm.
We're still going to have to adhere to a lot of the stuff that we have to today. So it's, again, in my opinion, I'm only 20% of a vote, that putting it off until the spring, I don't think that's the best bet. But certainly the town clerk, we respect her, we love her, and we want her opinion. So Ms. Sloan, if you could take it away, that would be great. Just unmute yourself, please, Beth. Okay, no problem. John might have to come and help you.
Okay. Go right
Can
ahead.
you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you.
As far as the town meeting goes, if you guys want to have it, obviously we will have it, and wherever you do it, we will set up and we will register the votes. I just am worried about if you have it on the Saturday, if it is pouring. I know you said rain or shine. How does that gonna work?
So that's a great question. So we're gonna look into getting a tent in case it rains. But I think that if we educate residents and let them know that, you know, hey, you got to bring an umbrella, you got to bring a raincoat, and just be prepared for it. The other nice thing is there's only about 18 or 19 articles. So I think that we can move through it, you know, fairly quickly.
Okay. Because as far as a rain day, you don't have one.
That's correct. As of right now, we don't have one.
Okay.
And I mean, so what's our thought process there? I mean, I agree with holding it outside, and obviously the later we get into October, the chillier it's going to be. So you've got that situation going on. But I mean, the threat of rain, I'm really getting a whole visual here on people with umbrellas trying to be recognized if they go out.
And what about like the microphones?
Yep, microphones, electronics, the seats getting wet, elderly people in access. I mean, it just sounds like a nightmare. But that's just one
I
guess.
mean, the only other thing we could do is have an alternative of inside, you know, if it does rain, you know, but I really, personally, I don't really want to change the date. So maybe we could set something up where, you know, if it rains, we could just move inside and not do it outside.
I think that makes a lot of sense, don't you, Beth?
I do, but you have to obviously set that up with the school as well.
Right.
Yeah, because if you move it inside, Kenny, what are you thinking? Like obviously, I know when we were originally talking about the Springtown meeting, thinking about having it inside, Bob Hayes had suggested the gym, just because you've got a lot more flexibility there in terms of how you can set it up and the flow of traffic and all that stuff versus the PAC, which is, you know, kind of tightly packed and doesn't have as much of a opportunity for flexibility in the flow.
Yeah, so that's definitely a possibility. And the other thing is we'll be able to kind of look at the weather on that Tuesday or Wednesday. And if they say, hey, look, it's going to be a complete washout, then we can go right with the, you know, the inside option and setting up the speakers and microphones and stuff on the inside. But I would really like to move forward with town meeting on the 3rd. What do you guys think? Okay, you got thumbs up for Mr. Bloss, Mr. Hickey.
Yep.
Mr. Dyer, go ahead.
Chair, if it's all right, I would like to move to all special town meeting to enact to challenges faced by municipality authorities from COVID-19, Chapter 53, Acts of 2020, from the Monday in October at 7 o'clock afternoon, October 2020.
I'm sorry, what time are we going to have it?
It's going to be at 10 a.m. But Mr. Dyer, I hate to do this to you, but you were kind of broken up. I think your audio is a little screwed up. And can I please torture you and ask you to read that motion again?
Not a problem. Hold on one. So
Okay.
I'm change the date of the fall town meeting pursuant to an address that is faced by municipalities and status result of COVID-19, Chapter 53 of the Act 2020, from 2020, from the 1st in October 30 o'clock noon to October 2020.
Well, I mean, maybe if you cobble the first time he said it together with the second time, you'll
Well,
get the full.
The second time was definitely better.
Hold on.
I think we'll be all right. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Kate gave us that motion so we can, you know, just make sure that that's right. So I am looking for roll call vote. Mr. Bloss,
Aye.
Mr. Hickey,
Aye.
Ms. Kement,
Aye.
and Mr. Dyer.
Aye.
And I'm an aye, so that's 5-0. Thank you. Did we reach Kate? No?
Yes, I did. She's going to be calling in momentarily. She just was at another meeting and she just got out. So maybe another couple minutes. She should be popping up.
Okay. So why don't, John, why don't you do the town administrator report for us? Do you mind? And then we'll go back to the town meeting articles and stuff, because I really need Kate.
Sure. Let me just
Sorry,
skip
I know
down.
you're not ready, but
That's okay. I'm ready to go. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Just wanted to go over some old business. Liberty Street and County Street, the Complete Streets project. The project is underway. Last Thursday, Interim Highway Director Kurt McLean and I went door to door to all of the businesses in the work area and hand delivered a notice regarding what work was to be completed. And I think that might be Kate. So it's Kate calling right now. The hours of work are from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. and that's going to take approximately 5 to 8 weeks. This phase of the work will contain working, constructing or reconstructing driveways, sidewalks, curbs, or under drains. And then they're going to come back. They're going to take the winter off, and then in the springtime, they're going to come back and finish the paving and new signal installation. The capability to talk to the light in front of the fire station and the lights at Winter Street is also being installed. But the funding to install the new lighting at Winter Street and at the fire station, just isn't available right now. So the current thinking is to seek that funding when we put in the grant application for the reconstruction of the Winter Street intersection. We'll take the funding, we'll seek the funding to fix that that light and have it be able to talk to the fire department and use the capability that we're installing at the County Street and Liberty Street project. So the goal of this work is to improve traffic flow and increase pedestrian safety. And look forward to working with Charles Contracting Company on this project. If anyone has any questions on the project, please call the Highway Department at 781-293-2822. Also, the County Street Route 14 paving and line striping was done last week. There is some still some minor work left done there, but I just want to applaud everyone in the Highway Department and the great work that our contractor was doing, for their hard work and their attention to detail there. It looks really good. So keep up the great work for all involved there. On some new business, again, the Hanson Town Administrator Special Act requires me to give the board an update on all outstanding legal matters. I've given my update via letter in your boxes here at Town Hall tonight, but it will not be a public document because it may contain personnel, union bargaining, or health-related issues that cannot be discussed in public session, but I have complied with my requirements under the Act for the month. The Hanson Town Administrator Special Act also requires me to receive and act on questions and complaints filed with the Board of Selectmen or the Town Administrator and report back to the Board of Selectmen regarding resolution of complaints or questions. I have received a formal complaint from Mr. Richard Edgehill regarding some issues with the Board of Health. I have been speaking with the Board of Health agent, and I'm going to continue working with that. And I'll discuss with them what steps I'll take, and I will keep the Board of Selectmen informed regarding the resolution of his complaint. But again, I've complied with my requirements under the Act, and I will continue to do so. And also the town's fiscal year 2020 free cash was certified yesterday. And the amounts for the general fund was $1,953,618. For the Recreation Enterprise Fund, it was $39,684. And for the Solid Waste Enterprise Fund, it was $66,070. I just wanted to say again, what a fantastic job that Town Accountant Todd Hassett did. He performed a Herculean task by getting the free cash certification done so quickly and in time for special town meeting. Quite frankly, he makes it look easy, but it is not easy. I know how difficult it is, especially in this year with COVID-19 problems that we had. just unbelievable. Fantastic job to Todd and the financial team for a job well done. Just, I don't know what to say other than fantastic. And then finally, I just had for the next meeting, coming attractions will be September 22nd. That will be when the board will be voting on special town meeting warrant article recommendations. There's also a cannabis manufacturing licensing hearing with Impressed LLC. And I had the police department on there for an update, but I think we're going to be pushing that off just because it's just a full jam-packed agenda. So we may have to, that was just going to be a regular update from the police chief. And that's it. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, great. Thanks, John. Okay, back to new business. Is Kate on the line? John?
It was on there. I
Oh, was she?
saw somebody dial in and then they dropped off.
So right now, Ryan, can you, Kate is on hold. Is there any way that you can let her in?
Ryan, are you there?
Ryan?
Ryan, Kate?
Ryan?
Sorry, my headset wasn't working. Kate might be in the wrong meeting. I don't have anyone on hold right now.
Did she dial into the executive session by mistake, maybe?
Oh,
Sorry
That's
about
actually a
that.
good question. So we can double check that.
we're gonna have to,
Why don't we take a 5-minute recess here and see if we can get Kate on the line?
okay.
All right, it's 7:24. Why don't we come back at 7:30? We'll see if we can get Kate on the line. Sound good? Okay, thanks. For that. Okay, under new business, discuss and vote on the reduction in the quorum for the fall special town meeting pursuant to the act relative to municipal governance during the COVID-19 emergency, chapter 92 of the acts of 2020, section 7. Kate, just briefly, we discussed this the last meeting, but just briefly, go over that for us, please.
Yeah, I'm going to walk through a couple of the things just all together because it will just be more efficient. So last time we spoke, we said, okay, listen, we can postpone the town meeting pursuant to this special legislation. And actually, in this instance, we were not postponing it, but moving it forward. And after that call, I took a look at, again, General Laws, Chapter 39, which is the governance of town meeting chapter, and that special legislation. And what I realized is, so the reason why they needed that special act was because of the June 30 deadline for annual meetings. Because under the law, generally, you have the right to postpone and set the meetings however you want under Chapter 39. The trick of it was for the annual meeting, you need to set a budget by June 30th per the law. And so that's why they enacted that special legislation to allow towns like Hanson to convene their annual and set the annual budget after that deadline. But the further trick in Hanson is that you have a bylaw which annually sets a special town meeting. Okay, so we'll break that down. We call that the special town meeting, the fall special town meeting, but really because it happens every year annually pursuant to a bylaw, it's actually an annual town meeting. So it's just the fall annual. So what I thought about was how can we get this done? And the idea is we're going to set a special town meeting, which you can at any time during the year. You can have one in November, you can have one in March, you can have one whenever you want. If a citizen's petitioned in certain circumstances, you have to have a special. So what we're going to do to get the things that we want to accomplish done is set a special town meeting. And then for what would be the fall annual town meeting, if you look at that bylaw, it specifically carves out, it says, listen, you should have a special, it doesn't say listen, I added that piece. It says you have to have an annual town meeting to deal with general bylaw changes and zoning bylaw changes, not having to do with financial matters. But the issues that we're trying to resolve with this town meeting are actually all financial, because we want to set the tax rate, balance the budget, and do all of those things. So perfectly appropriate to do that at a special town meeting. And we're gonna vote to set the town meeting, special town meeting. We're gonna vote not to have our annual fall town meeting, and we're gonna vote to have it all done at Whitman Hanson pursuant to, if you guys want to do that, by the way, pursuant to the emergency legislation, because that's what empowers you to go outside of the town boundaries. So does that make sense for all of those items?
Yes. Yes, it does make sense, Kate.
And have any questions on any one of those items?
Mr. Chair,
Yes. Go ahead, Mr. Dyer.
could I just clarify that Whitman Hanson is not inside, is inside Hanson, sorry.
I know that. I thought that was in Whitman. Oh, so you're all set. You don't even need to, so long as it's within the borders of Hanson, you're fine under Chapter 39 regardless.
Okay.
Yep.
Does anyone have any questions about reducing the quorum
What size are we reducing it to?
to 50? From 100 to 50?
I mean, you know, I've got concerns about it. I recognize why we're doing it. We're probably going to be hard pressed to even get the 50 people there, even though we're changing it to a Saturday. But I think, you know, the counter argument would be we're going to allow 50 people to make important decisions for the town. I mean, you know, that's what we're going to hear. Each one of us individually, people will reach out and tell us that. So I'm just putting it on the record. We know that, but we're not talking about the override. You know, we're not doing an override at this, you know, or talking about like school budget or something of that sort. I think most of these issues are primarily housekeeping. You know, and I think I would just say, to the extent that any of the articles are something that we think, you know, can it wait until the spring when we have a full quorum? If, you know, I would just ask us to give that consideration as we look at the articles.
Okay, I'll go with Mr. Hickey first, then Mr. Bloss.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Laura, just to bounce this off the comment that you just said, and then you finished up with normal quorum is 100. So we let 100 people decide what's going to happen. So we're going to cut it in half. But your comment that bothers me, and I know you can't answer this, but somebody's going to say to you, we let 50 people decide what's going to happen in Hanson. Did that person that said that to you, did they go to the meeting?
Yes.
Because they have the opportunity, or was it somebody that chose not to go?
No, they did go. I share your righteous indignation on it, but I think that they did go. But this is the classic. We've heard. I'm surprised you guys haven't had people say it. I've had a million people say it to me. You know, in attempt. You know.
That's the point. That someone's going to say this to you that didn't go to the meeting when they had every opportunity to go to the meeting.
No, they did go to the meeting. They did go to the meeting. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the one that's coming up where we narrowed it down.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because someone's going to say that to you that didn't go to the meeting, but they have the opportunity to go and chose not to go. Just like if it was on a Monday night when the quorum was 100, and I remember that meeting that we were trying to call people and get people there to get it up to 100.
Yep.
You know, those are the same people. So
I know,
it,
I know.
it's a moot point.
And another thing to add to what Mr. Hickey's saying is we're lowering the quorum to 50. We'll take 300-400 as many people want to go. So it's not,
Yeah.
we're not cutting it off saying, oh, sorry, you're number 51. You're not going to be there. We're just lowering the quorum to 50 because we do have concerns that not a lot of people are going to show. I want 200, 300, 400, 500. I want a town meeting like we had back in August, you know, so
Yep.
Mr. Bloss. It sounds like we answered Mr. Bloss's question. Okay, does anybody else have any more questions?
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I'll move to reduce the quorum for the fall special town meeting pursuant to an act related. Sorry, I move to reduce a quorum for a fall town meeting pursuant to an act relevant to the municipal governance during the COVID-19 emergency. Chapter 92 of the Acts of 2020, Section 7, from not less than 100 registered voters to not less than 50 registered voters.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. I think we discussed that. Roll call. Mr. Hickey.
Aye.
Mrs. Kemmer.
Aye.
Mr. Dyer.
Aye.
Mr. Bloss.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Okay, thank you. Okay, next we have, so that's already, so John, the second part of item number 3, that's kind of all wrapped into one, right? The fall town meeting, I think we kind of already covered that.
You finalized the date and the
So
location
yeah,
already.
yeah, exactly. So in my explanation, I want you to re-vote those from last time to set the meeting for, what did we say, October 3rd? And then to not have the annual fall town meeting pursuant to the bylaw. So you'll see those motions in your packet.
I think we did the
Okay.
first part, Ken, didn't we? We just didn't do the
Yeah.
second part.
Yeah, I'm looking for the one, now would you say, Kate, the second one is to not have adjustments for other state. I'm just reading this real quick. Discussion for the location.
So
Okay,
Mr.
so we don't,
It's the one that starts with, it's the one right below the one that Mr. Dyer just read. It's the one that starts, I moved that to change the date of fall special town meeting pursuant to an act.
Mr. Chair, I read that one off earlier on when it was, my internet connection wasn't the best. I can read it off again if you'd like. But we already
Okay.
voted on it.
yeah, so when we were discussing that early, when you read it off, we were just talking about the time. So you know what, why don't you read that again, Matt, if you don't mind?
Nope, not a problem. I move to change the date of the fall special town meeting pursuant to an act to address the challenges faced by the municipalities and state authorities resulting from COVID-19. Chapter 53 of an act of 2020 from the first Monday in October at 7:30 o'clock in the afternoon to October 3rd, 2020 at 10 a.m.
Oh, you guys, I'm going to stop you there. So those were the motions that were sent after the meeting we had last week. And then I revised those motions. So they should be a little bit different. I sent you an email on that, and it should be, here, I'm going to stop here. Hold on.
Maybe we could have
Sorry.
Greer take a look and see maybe if she can find it, if she has a computer.
Take a look, because here, I'm actually going to pull it up right here. I pulled over, so I'm safe.
Okay, good. So the motion we're referring to, Kate, is changing the town
Yeah.
meeting from the first Monday, like it says in the bylaw.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's what my discussion was, which should have related to the quorum and wasn't. It was that when I re-looked at that special legislation, it's not really to change the town meeting date like we're doing here, because we can set a special town meeting anytime, regardless of the pandemic. So we're going to set that pursuant to Chapter 39, and we're going to then vote separately to not have the annual fall town meeting prescribed by the bylaws, because we're not doing general and zoning bylaw changes. So I can get you the exact wording, and then you guys can say so moved. If you give me 2 quick seconds.
Okay.
Because the idea is that special act speaks really only to not being able to conclude the business by June 30th, and that's why they had to enact it.
Okay.
So, okay, I'm in your Hanson folder. Okay, so I'm getting there.
And John, I can check on the tent tomorrow for town meeting in the event that we do need it.
Okay.
If we can just double check with the school about the gym as a backup in case we do have adverse weather conditions, that would be great.
Here it is.
No pressure, Kate, no pressure.
I'm so sorry, you guys. Okay, ready? I move to vote to schedule a special town meeting on October 3rd per Chapter 39, Section 9.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call vote. Mr. Hickey.
Aye.
Ms. Kevin.
Aye.
Mr. Dyer.
Aye.
Mr. Bloss.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Okay. Moving right
Okay,
along.
then the second motion, wait, one
Go
more
ahead,
second,
sorry,
one more
Kate.
second, Kenny. The next motion should be, I move not to hold the fall town meeting as required by town bylaw, as there are no bylaw changes being proposed.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Oh, I was nervous.
Motion's moved by Mr. Hickey, second by Mr. Dyer. Roll call vote. Mr. Hickey.
Aye.
Ms. Kevin.
Aye, but is that actually true that we're not changing any bylaw? Weren't we going to change our town, our tree warden?
Oh.
Yeah.
good point.
We're changing the tree warden from elected to appointed. That's the last one on this warrant. As of right now.
But that's not a bylaw. That's not a bylaw change, is it? That's not set forth in a bylaw. Rather, every position is an elected position unless the town meeting votes to change it and we get a ballot measure.
I thought we had a separate, I'd have to go back and look, but I thought there was a specific bylaw about the tree warden being an elected position. But I may be wrong, but I just want to make sure that before we make the motion, or at least, you know, that we caveat, I don't know, are we still able to make that motion if we have to make that change?
You know, then I would amend it to remove that language about bylaw changes. Because
Okay.
you can do a special with bylaw changes. We're just not holding the annual fall.
Okay.
So Kate, can you
So
read that
will you
motion
accept
again?
that amendment? Yeah, I'm going to read it again and we're just going to replace it. Ready? Okay. So, I move to not hold the fall town meeting as required by town bylaw. Period.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Hickey.
Aye.
Ms. Kevin.
Aye.
Mr. Dyer.
Aye.
Mr. Bloss.
Mr. Bloss says aye, although just for future reference, Kate, I mean, when we do the annual town meeting in May, say, we convene the
Yep.
meeting, then we move to the special town meeting within, and then we move back to the annual. So if
Yes.
there was a bylaw change involved in this, it seems to me that would be another possibility to have the regular annual town meeting, fall town meeting, then convene the special within it and then go back to the regular for that one change, right?
Yeah, you could, except for the problem is the date's prescribed by bylaw. So the date says the first Monday or whatever the heck it says, and that's the date we can't do because we want to do it on a Saturday.
Gotcha.
That's
Okay, and
it.
I said aye.
Okay, and I'm an aye. Any more, Kate, or is that it?
No, that's it. So I'm sorry for it being messy, but yes, that's it.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, no
Okay.
problem.
Next up, review the fall 2020 special town meeting articles. And then we're also gonna vote to place. We're only gonna place tonight, guys, because FinCom has not reviewed, so we'll vote to place tonight, and then FinCom is gonna take a look at those and then give recommendations for our next meeting for us to recommend. All right, how you want to do this, John? You want me to just?
I can read them if you want, and then ask for any explanation. If anyone needs an explanation, I can explain it.
Thank you.
Okay. So Article 1 is to see if the town will vote to transfer a sum of money from available funds to pay for unpaid bills from prior fiscal years or take any other action in relation thereto. And that's just the usual unpaid bills article that's on almost every warrant.
Okay, any questions? Should we hold off to the end and place them all at once, or do you want to do them individually? What do you suggest? I think we do them all at once at the end once you read through them.
Okay.
All right, thanks, John.
Okay, Article 2 is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds a sum of money to supplement appropriations previously voted in Article 6 of the July 29th, 2020 annual town meeting for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2020 for various town departments, or take any other action in relation thereto. And this will be to supplement any budgets that are that were voted back in July, if there are any supplements to be had. Article 3 is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate a transfer from available funds the following sums of money to pay for various department capital accounts for the following items, or take any other action in relation thereto. This is the capital plan article. These are the items that were on the plan as of last May, and we had to pull them off before the meeting of last July. I can read them all, or you can see them there. The total is $803,050. Article 4 is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds a sum of money to fund capital accounts for the following Whitman Hanson Regional High School items, or take any other action in relation thereto. They put in 2 articles on their capital plan. One was to fix the fire lane at the high school, and one was to replace the phone system. The total of those 2 are $86,713. And that would be funded as of right now from old articles that they haven't spent from and have been completed. Article 5 is to see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $30,410 from the Community Preservation Committee's reserve funds to pay for the local share of a state matching trails grant, or take any other action in relation thereto. We received a grant, a sizable grant from Mass Trails, and this would be the local share of that grant, to keep that, the local matching share of that grant. Article 6 is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate a transfer from available funds a sum of money to pay for an operational and comparative audit of the Whitman Hanson Regional School District, or take any other action in relation thereto. This is the audit that was put out for bid back in February, and we got one bid in the Friday before COVID hit. I have talked to Mr. Lynham in Whitman, and it's a $28,000 bid. That the company's willing to keep that price for for now, with an October start date. And we agreed that we would both split that cost, $14,000 from Whitman and $14,000 from Hanson. So that would be to fund that operational and comparative audit. We've been talking about it for a while. Article 7 is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate a transfer from available funds a sum of money to pay for the fiscal year 2022 recertification year adjustments and the commercial, industrial, personal property, cyclical recertification of the town's real estate and personal property values as required by Mass General Laws, Chapter 218 of the Acts of 2016, or take any other action in relation thereto. And this is the recertification valuation that the town has to go through every year, every 5 years now. It used to be a 3-year. They used to call it the triennial revaluation. All buildings and land tables, depreciation schedules are recalculated according to the current real estate market. So this would be to fund that. Article 8 is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate a transfer from available funds a sum of money to pay for engineering costs related to the park to be located at the old Plymouth County Hospital site, or take any other action in relation thereto. And this would be for design construction plans for infrastructure and roadways at the proposed park at the former Plymouth County Hospital site located off of High Street.
Is that coming from a CPC?
At the moment, again, the funding source is yes, it is. As of,
Okay.
no, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong column, Ms. Campbell, sorry about that. Right now, it's coming from free cash, but this is in flux depending on where the funding is. That's why I kind of put a generic wording in for right
Do
now.
we know if they're applying to CPC? Because we are in tight financial situation and that is an eligible expense under the Community Preservation Act. So to the extent it could be funded that way versus the general budget, I think that would be the play we would want.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes, go ahead, Matt.
So for this topic, we have sold some property up at Plymouth County Hospital. And I think the intention of this was to hope to use some of those funds that we have sold from Plymouth County Hospital to roll it back into this project to fund engineering plans. So I know that was one thing that we talked about in the past, but just to kind of remind the board where we are right now.
What property are we talking about? Something recent?
I believe the superintendent's house.
Oh, all right, the one under construction up there?
Yep. And then we sold off a lot. And then I think there was one more that we sold off. So there have been a couple of properties that we have, that was like 180,000 plus, I believe. Don't quote me on that number, but there is some cash that we're hoping to take and roll back into the property.
Okay, I mean, obviously, we can't earmark
Correct.
sales, but I get what you're saying, like, notionally, like that's the idea. But I guess since that money's already gone into the general roles, I would really appeal to you guys to try to think about applying to community preservation for that money. It's eligible and we ought to be using community preservation, particularly in times like these, to the extent we can. That's just my 2 cents worth on that, though.
Go ahead, John.
Okay. Article 9 is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate a transfer from available funds a sum of money to pay for stump grinding, stump removal, and related improvements located at Camp Kawani, or take any other action in relation thereto. And this will be to remove or grind all the tree stumps that were recently cut down at Camp Kawani, and also to fund loam and reseeding of the area near the lodge, and to do some stone backfill for all the stumps that were ground or removed near the roadway. The stumps, I think we've talked about this before, the stumps are going to be used or reused, in Smitty's Bog for habitat reclamation purposes. Article 10 is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds a sum of money to pay for repairs to the parking lot located at 228 High Street, or take any other action in relation thereto. Again, 228 High Street is where the food pantry is. The parking lot is in rough shape, although it's a little bit better than it used to be. So I'm going to be working with Kurt to try to, Kurt McLean is the interim highway director. We don't want to put down things that are going to be ripped up later in a couple of years when things that are happening in that area start to take shape. So it'll be to do what we need to do in order to make it passable but not overdo something that we're going to end up having to pull out later on when things get rolling at that site. Article 11 is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate a transfer from available funds a sum of money to pay for 5 new compactors to be located at the town of Hanson transfer station, or take any other action in relation thereto. Right now we have a 6-month extension with our contract with our waste hauler. If we were to move to another contract with another vendor, the compactors that we have now would not be able to come along with them, and we would have to, if we rented them from a new vendor, they would be more expensive than buying them outright. And so buying 5 in all at once would give us some economies of scale and be able to have us be able to move to a new vendor if the town chose to in the future. We've been extending the current vendor every 6 months, and this would be a step in the way of trying to eventually put the new compactors in place so that we could go to a new vendor if we chose to.
And was that submitted by the Board of Health? The Board of Health voted on this? You just muted yourself. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Okay. I guess I was unmuted at the time. The Board of Health has not voted on it, but I know I have talked to the Board of Health agent on this. He is well aware of that this is on there. And I'm hoping that he'll get that on there as soon as possible. I did not look at their agenda, upcoming meeting agenda. I don't think it's on there. But they would need to vote on that.
Okay, thanks.
Excuse me, yeah, John, we did not vote on it. It was on the agenda.
Oh, it was on the agenda. I'm sorry, Gil.
No, it
I
wasn't.
see it on the bottom there.
No, it wasn't on the agenda, so we didn't vote on it.
Okay.
John, you're muted.
Is that something you can get on the agenda soon? When are you meeting again?
Okay, the meeting's not up for another month. I can potentially ask to call for a meeting before the special.
Well, I mean, if it's a Board of Health item, wouldn't we need them to vote for it?
I think so.
Yes, I think the Board of Health definitely should vote on that. So Gil, can you try to see if you can get them to convene like pretty quick here? Because as you know, we're meeting, town meeting's gonna be on the 3rd, so you don't have much time.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. We just saw this. We had a meeting today, and it was not put on the agenda in time. So.
Okay. Go ahead, John.
Article 12 is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate a transfer from available funds a sum of $10,000 to replenish the conservation fund for open space management and related conservation purposes, or take any other action in relation thereto. This is to put money towards open space and the open space and recreation plan with the Conservation Commission. They would like to have more money in order to fulfill their role with public access and passive recreation opportunities. Article 13 is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate a transfer from available funds a sum of money to be added to the town's other post-employment benefits trust fund, or take any other action in relation thereto. Again, that's the other post-employment benefits trust fund. Those are non-pension costs the town's required to pay after an employee retires, such as health insurance. Right now, we have a liability of approximately $19.5 million, and we have $132,000 in that fund. Article 14 is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate a transfer from available funds a sum of money to be added to the town's stabilization fund, or take any other action in relation thereto. Again, there'll be money to be put into the stabilization fund that the town has. Some people call it the rainy day fund. It's for when we need money for other purposes, and it's also a good rainy day fund for having that money in there helps to have a positive bond rating. Standard & Poor's and Moody's like to see reserves that the town could draw upon in times of crisis. Article 15 is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate a transfer from available funds a sum of money to be added to the Regional Schools Capital Stabilization Fund as established by the October 2014 special town meeting, or take any other action in relation thereto. Again, the town has a dedicated stabilization fund for regional schools for capital, and this would add money to that fund. And finally, the last article is Article 16, is to see if the town will vote to make the office of tree warden an appointed position under the authority of the Board of Selectmen, as per the provisions of Mass General Laws, Chapter 41, Section 1B, or take any other action in relation thereto. Right now, the office of tree warden is an elected position, and this article and also an article, a ballot box vote in the spring of 2021 would have to both pass in order to change the office from an elected position to an appointed position under the control of the Board of Selectmen. And that's it, Mr. Chairman.
Excellent, thank you. So I'm looking for a motion to place the fall 2020 special town meeting articles 1 through 16.
So moved by Matt.
Second by Jim.
Motion's made and seconded. Any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I do have to recuse myself from voting on the one having to do with the food pantry because I'm on the board of the food pantry. So I don't know how to do that. Everything else I'm in favor of, but I have to
Okay,
recuse
so we
myself.
can do, which article is that? We can do that article separate. So that's probably under capital projects, John? You know?
That's Article 10.
That's Article 10. Okay, so let's change that motion from Article 1 through 16 minus 10, or 1 through 9 and 11 through 16.
Thank
And we'll
you.
do 10 separately.
So moved.
Second by Matt.
Okay, roll call vote. Mr. Hickey.
Aye.
Ms. Kemp.
I also, with the caveat that the article for the Board of Health go before the Board of Health and be voted on, but aye.
Mr. Dyer.
Aye.
Mr. Bloss.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. We're looking for a motion to place Article 10.
So
So
moved by
moved.
Matt.
Second by Jim.
Roll call vote. Mr. Hickey.
Aye.
Ms. Kemp.
Recuse.
Mr. Dyer.
Aye.
Mr. Bloss.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. So 401, Greta. Okay, John, on the next one, execute, you don't need a vote on that, execute the warrant. Item 5, execute fall 2020 special town meeting warrant.
So what I'm going to do is we're going to, I didn't know you were going to make any changes tonight. So now that I know where we are on it, I'm going to print up the warrant. And then if you could stop in, each one of you at when you can tomorrow or Thursday at the latest. We have, I think, until Friday to post this around the town with the constables.
Okay.
And where are you going to have that, John? In your office or down in the selectman's office?
I'm going to have it in my office, but if I'm out doing something at the time, I'm going to bring it down to the selectmen's meeting room so you can sign there.
All right, thanks.
Okay, so that's the end of our regular meeting. We're now going to go into executive session to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect of bargaining or litigation position of the public body and the chair so declares. Also to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel. Looking for a motion.
So moved by Matt.
Second by Jim.
Okay, roll call vote. Mr. Hickey.
Aye.
Ms. Kemp.
Aye.
Mr. Dyer.
Aye.
Mr. Bloss.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. we're gonna come out of executive session only to adjourn. Hopefully I said that right, Greer. Greer, can you send out the go-to meeting for the executive session?
Actually, it's in Dropbox.
Is it?
Yeah, do you still need me to send it out?
Yeah, unless it's in, do you know if
Is-
it,
I
Is it
sent
the
it to
same one
everybody
John
yesterday.
sent? Yeah,
Yes.
you sent two, right, John? So
Yes.
okay.
I sent it yesterday, Kenny, if you go back in your email for yesterday.
Okay, all right, I can pull my email up here. I don't want to lose you guys.
I'm gonna jump off, guys. Thank you
Oh,
so much.
thank you, Kate.
And
Bye, Kate.